The legal profession is at this massive crossroads. It's a moment where centuries of tradition are colliding with this absolute tidal wave of technology. And look, this is way more than just some new software. It's a fundamental rewiring of the entire industry. So let's dive right in.
So what's really driving all of this? Well, it's something we're calling the algorithmic advantage. What we're seeing is this incredible shift of power, and frankly, value, away from human hours and straight into machine intelligence. This is the new engine of the entire legal economy. And this quote, it just hits the nail on the head. The stakes couldn't be clearer. For any professional today, the choice is simple. You either own the tools or you risk being replaced by them. It's all about moving from being just a cog in the machine to actually owning the machine itself. Now, what's so fascinating here is how this really breaks down the economic shift. The old model, right? The billable hour. It's totally linear. You only have so many hours in a day, which puts a hard cap on your growth potential. But the new engine, this algorithmic advantage, is completely different. It's asset-driven. It's exponential. A single piece of software can work for 1,000 clients all at once. And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory. The shockwave was very, very real. When the AI company Anthropic dropped a tool that could automate routine legal work, the market didn't just notice, it absolutely freaked out. That one press release proved that the future we've all been talking about, it's already here. And this just brilliantly illustrates the fallout. People called it the SaaS apocalypse, and it wiped out hundreds of billions of dollars in market value from the big established players, literally overnight. And why? Because the market suddenly started asking, wait a minute, is the entire business model of selling legal information and services about to become obsolete? Okay, so let's get into the key players on this new battlefield. It's a really dynamic landscape, right? You've got these entrenched, powerful titans on one side, and then this swarm of hungry, well-funded startups on the other. So here's the twist. The titans didn't get disrupted, they got supercharged. Thomson Reuters went out and bought Casey Text to integrate its AI. RELX doubled down on predictive analytics. How? Because they own the single most valuable asset in this new world. Decades and decades of proprietary, clean, perfectly indexed legal data. That, right there, is their moat. So, if the giants are adapting this effectively, who's left to challenge them? I mean, where are the disruptors supposed to find any room to breathe in this new territory? Well, they're right here. There's a whole new wave of venture-backed startups that are being really smart. They're not trying to take the titans on directly. Instead, they're targeting very specific high-value niches. You've got Darrow using AI to find class action lawsuits that nobody else can see, or Supio, which is streamlining the incredibly complex world of personal injury cases. They are solving specific, expensive problems. And if you really want to grasp the sheer scale of this land grab, just look at the money pouring into one of the breakout stars, Harvey. We're talking about over $400 million. And look who's writing the checks? OpenAI, Sequoia, Kleiner Perkins, the biggest names in venture capital. This isn't some small-time experiment. This is a full-blown gold rush. You know the old saying, always follow the money. And what we're seeing right now is a great capital migration. Trillions of dollars are on the move, funding the pipes and the plumbing of this new legal digital world. The market itself tells the whole story. It's projected to more than double in just the next decade, hitting over $65 billion. And that steady, impressive growth rate, that's exactly what gets serious institutional capital off the sidelines and into the game. And where is all this new infrastructure being built? Well, overwhelmingly, it's in the cloud. 70% of these solutions are cloud-based. And that's not just a nice-to-have, it's an absolute necessity for the kind of scalability, remote access, and real-time collaboration that modern legal work demands. This timeline really shows the incredible acceleration we're talking about. Venture capital funding jumped by over 50% in just 1 year. Think about that, from 2.8 to 4.3 billion. That's pure rocket fuel, and it's what's leading directly to what's expected to be a booming IPO market. Okay, so let's get practical. With all this cash and all these new companies popping up, how do you actually navigate this? As an investor, as a professional, how do you build a portfolio that captures all of this upside while dodging the inevitable failures? So before you even think about putting a dollar in, you have to ask these 3 core questions. 1, does it own unique data? 2, is its AI grounded with something called RAG? Basically, that just means it pulls answers from a trusted library of documents, not from the Wild West of the open internet. And 3, Can it handle the incredibly strict regulatory and privacy demands of the legal world?
Answering those questions helps you avoid this. This is, without a doubt, the single biggest risk for investors right now, the wrapper trap. These are companies that look amazing on the surface, but they have zero defensible technology. They're just a pretty interface slapped on top of somebody else's AI model. Their entire business could get wiped out by a single software update from a tech giant. And this lays out the two paths perfectly. On one side, you have the ghost ships, those wrappers totally vulnerable with no real moat. But on the other, you have the sovereign assets. These are the companies with their own data, deep tech integration, and a laser focus on solving a tangible, expensive problem. That's where you're going to find the real long-term value.
All right, let's zoom out for the big finish. What does all of this actually mean for the future of the legal profession itself? What does this new infrastructure, this digital courthouse, really look like? And more importantly, what's your place in it?
So here's the bottom line. Your value is no longer about manual execution. It's not about the hours you spend drafting a document. Your value now comes from your ability to command these incredibly powerful tools, to apply your strategic judgment, your creativity, and your critical oversight to the work the AI produces.
Which leaves us with one final provocative question. As this new digital legal order is being built all around us, you really have a choice. In a world of digital gavels and AI counsel, are you going to be an architect helping to build it? Or are you going to become an artifact of a bygone era? The choice is yours.
So what happens when a massive market shock isn't triggered by a financial crisis or some geopolitical event, but by a single press release from an AI company? Well, that's exactly what we saw. It was the day the entire legal establishment felt the ground just disappear from under them.
And the fallout? It was immediate, and it was brutal. The market gave it a name, the SaaS apocalypse. You're looking at a staggering $285 billion just wiped off software stocks in one day. All because Anthropic AI unveiled a new legal tool. This wasn't a warning shot. This was a direct hit, plain and simple.
So who got hit the hardest? This chart tells the whole story. We're talking about the absolute giants of legal data, Thomson Reuters and RELX, the company behind LexisNexis. They tanked, down 18 and 14%. The fear in the market was palpable. I mean, if AI can suddenly do the core work, what's the future for companies whose whole business is selling access to that work?
This quote just nails it. For so long, we thought of automation as something for the factory floor, right? Robots building cars. But now, the battlefield has completely shifted. It's moved into the cubicle. We're talking about disrupting the high-value, thinking work of lawyers, paralegals, analysts. This isn't just some tech fad. It's a total rewrite of the rules for legal professionals.
All right, so to really get our heads around this new reality, we're going to break it down into 5 key parts. We'll start with that initial shock, the fall of the AI gavel. Then we'll look at the rise of the AI lawyers, the new players in town. After that, we follow the money in the legal gold rush. And this is the big one. We'll give you a blueprint, the sovereign portfolio, to capitalize on all this. Finally, we'll look ahead at the new code of law.
Okay, so when the old guard gets rocked like that, it creates a vacuum, right? And you better believe nature abhors a vacuum. Into that space came a whole new breed of competitor. These are AI-native startups, flush with cash, and they're not just here to play. They're here to completely redefine the game.
And you need to get familiar with these names: Harvey, Darrow, Spellbook. These aren't just startups. They're becoming the new titans of legal tech. And listen, this isn't about 1 or 2 rogue companies. It's a whole ecosystem of disruptors popping up, and each one is aiming at a weak spot in the old way of doing things. And what's so smart about their approach is the focus. They aren't trying to do everything at once. Take Harvey. They're building custom AI brains, these powerful LLMs, specifically for the biggest law firms on the planet. And they've raised over $400 million to do it. Then you have Darrow, which is basically an AI intelligence agency sniffing out the next big class action case. And Spellbook? Super practical. It plugs right into Microsoft Word, putting AI tools right where transactional lawyers live all day.
You know it's a serious shift when the old guard starts changing their playbook. The big, prestigious law firms, they're done just sitting on the sidelines. You've got firms like A&O Shearman and Cooley not just buying tech, but investing in it, incubating it. They've realized they can't just be customers anymore. They have to be builders, actively shaping the tools that will either make or break their future.
Okay, So that brings us to the money. And we're not talking about a niche little tech market here. This is a full-blown, multi-billion-dollar gold rush. And you can be sure the investment world is paying very close attention.
Just look at that number, $4.3 billion. That's how much venture capital got poured into legal tech in 2025 alone. That's not just a vote of confidence, that's a massive bet from the smartest money out there that this disruption isn't just real, it's going to be incredibly profitable. And if you think that's big, the long-term view is even crazier. Projections show this market exploding to over $65 billion by 2034. So here's the key takeaway. For all the chaos, we are still in the very, very early innings of this game. This is a decade-long transformation just getting started. And this timeline really shows you the sheer speed of what's happening. We went from $2.8 billion in 24 to $4.3 billion in 25. That's more than a 50% jump in just 1 year. The momentum here is absolutely undeniable. All that cash creates this powerful flywheel. More money means more innovation, which means more disruption. So, you see this tidal wave of cash and innovation coming, which brings us to the single most important question. How do you capitalize on this? How do you turn all this disruption into a massive personal opportunity, both as a professional and as an investor?
And that's where we pivot. We're moving from just analyzing the situation to taking action. We've put together a master plan, a financial blueprint built for this new legal era. We call it the Sovereign Portfolio.
The whole strategy is built on a simple, three-tiered structure. It's all about balancing stability with that high growth potential. Think of it like this. 50% is for protection, 30% is for growth, and the last 20% is for speculation. Now let's break down exactly what goes into each of those slices.
I want you to picture this like you're constructing a building. The foundation, that's 50% of your portfolio, is all about protection. These are your digital landlords. Think Thomson, Reuters, and RELX. Yeah, they got shaken, but they own the incredibly valuable data that every AI model needs to function. They're collecting the digital rent. Next, you build the pillars. This is your growth slice, the next 30%. These are the picks and shovels of this AI gold rush. We're talking about the cloud infrastructure giants, Microsoft Azure, Alphabet Cloud. Every single one of these hot new AI startups is paying them for power. And finally, the rooftop. This is the last 20%, your speculation play. This is where you bet on the absolute frontier, the next-gen AI-native law firms, radical ideas like self-executing contracts where the code is the law. This is your high risk, but potentially massive reward. Bet on where this is all going.
Now, if you're actually a professional in this field, this is where it gets really exciting. This creates what we call the double play. On one side, AI starts automating all the grunt work, the repetitive stuff, freeing you up to focus on high-level strategy. But at the same time, your sovereign portfolio is making money from that very same automation. So think about that. Your workload goes down while your wealth goes up. It's a beautiful thing.
So, as we start to wrap this up, what are we really looking at? It's a fundamental shift. We're watching the legal profession transform from this old handcrafted model, one lawyer, one client, one problem at a time, into a scalable, industrialized system. It's all going to be powered by technology and data.
And really, the whole point of this deep dive comes down to one thing. In an era of change this massive, understanding what's happening, who the players are, where the money's going, and having a financial blueprint, that is the single thing that separates the people who get disrupted from the ones who dominate. In this new world, clarity isn't just power. Clarity is sovereignty.
And listen, the sovereign portfolio is just step one. In our next session, we're going to go even deeper. We're calling it the BAR Blueprint, and it's our masterclass on how to actually build the AI-augmented legal practice of the future.
Until then, thanks for joining us. Stay sharp, stay wealthy, stay sovereign.